decided to stay under canvas that night and dropped into a very cosy little nook under a great elm tree. Then we thought we were going to have supper. But George said no, we'd better get the cover up over the boat first, then all our work should be done and we could eat with an easy mind. That cover wanted more putting up, I think, than any of us had bargained for. It seemed so simple in the abstract. We thought it would take quite 10 minutes. That was an underestimate. It took us 30 minutes just to get the hoops up that go over the boat. And then there remained the canvas to be done. George went to fasten it on at the front. Harris went in the middle to take it from George and roll it on to me, and I stood by the stern ready to receive it. George did his part all right, but it was new work to Harris and he bungled it. He succeeded after 10 minutes of superhuman effort in getting completely entangled and rolled up in the thing. He, of course, made frantic struggles for freedom, the birthright of every Englishman, but only succeeded in knocking over George. And then George, swearing at Harris, began to struggle too, and he got entangled and rolled up. I didn't understand the business at all. I'd been told to stay where I was, and Montmorency and I stood there, both as good as gold. True, we could see the canvas being jerked and tossed about pretty considerably, but we supposed that was all part of the method. At length George's head came poking out. "Come on, give us a hand here, you cuckoo," he shouted, standing there like a stuffed dummy. I never could resist an appeal for help, so I went and undid them. It took us half an hour's hard labour after that before we got the thing up. Then we cleared the decks and got out the supper. We put the kettle on to boil in the nose of the boat, and then went down to the stern and pretended not to notice it. That's the only way you can get a kettle to boil up the river. If you let it think you're waiting and are anxious, it'll never even sing. But if you go away and get on with something else, it'll soon boil up, mad to be made into tea. It's a good idea, too, if you're in a great hurry, to go and stand near the kettle and say in a loud voice, "Oh, I don't want any tea, George, do you?" To which George will reply, "Oh, no, I don't like tea. Tea's so indigestible. We'll have lemonade." At which point the kettle will boil over and put the stove out. We adopted this harmless piece of trickery, with the result that by all the time all the other things were ready, the tea was waiting for us. Then we squatted down to supper. We wanted that supper. For 35 minutes, not a sound was heard through the length and breadth of the boat, but clanking of cutlery and crockery and the steady grinding of 4 sets of molars. At the end of 35 minutes, Harris said, "Ah," and took his left leg out from under him and put his right leg there in its place. 5 minutes after that, George said, "Ah." And 3 minutes later than that, Montmorency rolled over on his side and stuck out his legs. And then I said, "Ah," and I leant back and banged my head against one of the hoops. But I didn't mind. I didn't even swear. Then we lit our pipes and looked out at the quiet night and talked. George told us of a rather funny thing that happened to his father once. George's father and another fellow were travelling through Wales, and they stopped one night at a little wayside inn. They had a jolly evening, and by the time they came to go to bed, they were rather jolly too. George's father and George's father's friend were to sleep in the same room, only in different beds.